What is going on YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe, Nile Scala here, and we are here for another exciting episode of Billy Tucci, teen sensation, never turning off his YouTube feed.
I know. I keep forgetting. Well, we go on. Hey, everybody. How you guys doing? Happy November. We go
Happy
on,
November.
like 15 minutes before, so I get everything set up, and then I completely, forget to hit the mute button. But
the mute button, bro. It's 68, the big 68, man. Episode
68. Oh
68.
man, almost at 70 shows.
Almost
Here
at
we
70.
go, man.
Dude, what's going on here?
Well, listen. How you doing? How you feeling? You got a little scratch in your
I
belly?
got a little scratch in the voice
frog?
tonight, so I apologize. I got a little frog in the throat, but I've got my English tea with a honey and a bit of milk.
Is that English breakfast tea you got
That is
there,
English
old
breakfast
chum?
tea, bro. Actually, no. You know what? My bad. I actually brewed a little Irish breakfast tea.
Wow, that's
like
great. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
So anyway,
sad, bro. Sad.
no. Why don't we get to our guests right now? Because we have two awesome guests. One's got a campaign on Kickstarter. The other's got a campaign on Indiegogo. So without further ado,
No, they're both Kickstarters.
No.
Yes.
Are they?
Yes. The double
Yeah, sorry.
Kickstarters tonight. But one of our
Are you
guests
sure
did
it's no Kickstarter?
did do an Indiegogo.
Oh, the old one was a see. This is me going back and
Look
looking
at
at
you.
old. Well, I
Look at
apologize.
you. Look at
In our
that.
double-barreled Indiegogo, let's say hello to Doc Vaughn and to Mr. Gary Shipman. Hey guys, how you doing?
How's it going?
Good. Thank you for having me on.
Gentlemen, welcome to Crowdfunding Comics episode 68. You guys just won a prize.
Woohoo!
And that's enjoying a lovely evening with myself
It's good
and
to see
teen
you guys.
sensation Billy Donatucci.
Billy Tucci just came back from Tucson Comic Con and it was awesome.
No one cares.
What a great show. One of my favorite shows like that it became. I mean, they treat the guests so incredible. The nicest fans. The weather was amazing. Out there in Arizona. What a great city. A lot of history, gunfighter town. Just a great time. So Deb and I had an awesome time hanging out. Very busy. Came in last night from the show. We're both, incredibly exhausted. But as we said, I thought I was done with our Indiegogo and our Kickstarter awards. But she let me inform me a little while ago that I have 7 more zombie drawings to do. I have to do 7 zombie sketch covers. But I'll do that tonight while we're on the show. And then we're in the home stretch. I think everything's going out tomorrow and Thursday. So all the rewards, everyone's rewards are going out this week. So pretty exciting. Exciting.
Excellent. And Gary and Scott, I mean, are you guys? Do you guys attend the convention scene?
Go ahead, Gary.
I used to, like maybe 2 or 3, well, probably 3 years ago. I did it for a few years. I did okay, but it seemed like the whole comic thing or comic convention scene has changed dramatically from the way it used to be. I used to go back in the 90s and stuff. Things have changed drastically. I'm sure you guys know that.
Well,
it's just not it's not working as well as it used to for me, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that's what I loved about Tucson. I mean, they had Jim Hacksaw Dugan and a couple of anime people, like people do the voiceovers for the anime. But aside from that, it was a real comic convention. And it was like packed. It was massive, old school dealer selling Silver Age comics and Golden Age comics. And then you had a lot of independent press, a lot of young people coming in, a lot of people our age, startups, and then a lot of established characters. You had Mark Waid was there, Jill Thompson was there, James O'Barr was there, that old devil dog. It was just great. What a fantastic convention. It really was. So anyone's out there in that area, sorry, I got my window open. It's a nice night. I highly recommend it. But what I love about it, Gary, that it is like an old school comic convention.
it sounded like you said there was a lot of young people like you and I.
No, I said there's a lot of young people. I said then there's a lot of people like you and I who are indie guys and stuff like that. So
Cool.
What about you,
Well,
Scott?
I'm actually in Phoenix myself. I did not go to Tucson this year. I went last year, and I agree with some of your sentiments on how down home it feels and like a proper convention in a lot of regards. The only reason I didn't go this year is because I just didn't make any money last year, relatively speaking. And I think that kind of falls into some of what Gary's talking about. And Phoenix Comic Con is a great example of that as well. It's so big, and it's such a pop culture con that that it's hard for the little guys and the indies to really even stand out anymore. And I know there's always things that they're at least trying to adjust, but at the end of the day, it's getting harder and harder to do. I've never traveled much for a lot of conventions. I've been to a few others and I've attended a few others, but for the most part, I've just stayed local.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did Phoenix Comic Con last year, and we loved it. We had a great. I just love the weather. I love everyone out there, and we had done Tucson a few years ago, and it's grown way. Like we did it 2 years ago, I think, and it had to be like three times larger this year.
Yeah,
it was pretty good. So it's growing. So hopefully it'll change for you, and check it out because we did well, but. I guess I also had that advantage of it being our 25th anniversary, so I had some specials and stuff like that. But what a great show. I mean, they treated the guests incredible, and I would check it out, Gary. Doc, I'd check it out for sure. You can, because I think it's changed. I think it is because it's grown from when we did it last 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
The last Comic-Con that I was at actually was the Phoenix one, and it was the year that they stopped the guy from doing some harm to one of the Power Rangers.
Yeah, Power Ranger.
Yeah, the Green Ranger, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that changed everything here in not a good way. I mean, and I don't know if this is off topic, so I'll try and keep it short. But one way or the other, it feels like that partly the fault of the city. The city doesn't back the arts. It doesn't back the con the way some place like San Diego does, where they understand the revenue it generates and the arts that it generates. And so they support the convention and they have security there. And whereas Phoenix Comic Con had to pony up and make sure that everybody felt safe, and it basically closed down the con in terms of nobody wants to wait a half an hour just to get in. In 100-degree heat and then have to go back through that line again if they want to go outside and go eat at the local restaurants and so on. So it's attendance has fallen and risen, but it one way or the other, it's changed the whole vibe.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with you. And I know that they're doing things like this year was far better than last year or the year before for us. And my buddy Mark was a police officer who arrested that guy. And he actually gave me his book to do. He came by earlier. We were setting up, Debbie and I, and he came by earlier, and he gave me his book. And then I didn't see him. He's like, well, I want to get a couple of guys. Can you do it? I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And he came by, and he's like, I'm like, well, I did your commission. And he's like, yeah, well, this is where I've been. He showed me a picture on his phone of the dude with like a shotgun and a couple of handguns and just nut, And he told me the whole story. But, and again, you're right, because of the measures they took. They've learned from it, I think, because they raised the price too of the convention because they had to hire this really expensive private security company, and they raised the prices of the con to compensate for the cost they had to do for the security.
Right.
And that's why I think with that and the the cosplayers weren't allowed to bring weapons. If you're a cosplayer with a sword or something, those giant swords they carry around, or the guns and stuff, they weren't allowed to have that. And I think that kind of hurt it.
It overall, it has. I think one way or the other, at least in Phoenix, you've got a core group. Everybody complains about attendance, and I don't care if there's 30,000 people at the convention or 75,000 people at the convention. One way or the other, for indie comics like myself, you've got a core group of people who come in to actually buy things.
Yeah.
Actually go down the rows of Artist Alley and check things out. And, as much as I enjoy cosplayers and so on, though, that's not the crowd.
Yeah.
So if they're already forced to spend too much money to come to the event in the first place, we're seeing less money drop into our pockets at the end of the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And things are getting more expensive. I guess the bigger they get, the bigger guests they get. I guess the more media people that charge them a lot of money.
Yeah.
And who the hell knows? But But
Well,
well,
let's get
th-
into a little bit of Gary and Scott's origin stories. How
yes,
did you
yes.
guys get
Sorry.
into comics? Sorry, I love a good con talk, but I'm eager. I'm like a kid on Christmas morning, just like let me open my presents. I don't want to wait for my brothers and sisters. But anywho, Gary, please, my
Yes.
friend, tell us, how did you get into this crazy world of comics?
Well, it started when I was, the first thing I can remember was a bright light. This elderly couple had found me in a field, and they took me home, and they said, "You're not like other people." No, I'm just kidding. How I got started was probably when I was in junior high school in the 80s. Ooh, long time ago. A friend of mine had some comic books, and they were X-Men by John Byrne and Chris Claremont.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just amazed. I was like, this is incredible. I'd seen comic books before that, obviously, but this really captured my imagination. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to draw comic books. I thought the same guy did all of them. I thought he did Archie, he did, all of them. And I thought, well, he's probably getting old. Somebody's going to have to take his place. Maybe I could be that guy. Turns out there's a lot of artists out there. So that's what kind of got me into it initially. And I just started developing, learning to draw, fell in love with it. I've been drawing just forever. I just love it. I love to draw. I love telling a story too. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of a nutshell of it all.
And where did it lead, though? I mean, you got into drawing this and that. How did it actually get into you doing the books you've done?
Okay. Well, I kind of got disillusioned with comic books around probably the 90s, like after Dark Knight and Watchmen and Callout 3000, things like that. Mm-hmm. Those were just fantastic books to me. And then it seemed like there's just a lot of stuff that was just really mediocre. And I think Image was just hitting the scene, and Todd McFarlane was becoming huge, and Rob Liefeld and stuff like that. And I just was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. And so I went and pursued a career being an artist for an educational book company. Worked there for 7 years. Worked for CTB for 4 years. And so I did art in that way. And then a friend of mine owned a comic book store. His name was John. And he owned a comic book store, and we were still friends, even though I got out of comics. He said, "You got to read this book." And I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" He said, "It's called Bone."
Yeah.
Like, okay, whatever. And so he said, "Just read the book." I go, "There's no good comic." He goes, "Just read it." So I read it, and I was like, "Hey, this is actually really good." And then I said, "Yeah, it's good, but nobody buys it, right?" And he said, "No, it's doing really well." And I said, "Are you kidding me? Because if this is something that people like, I'm getting back into comics." So I got back into comics thanks to Jeff Smith.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
And he's one of the good guys too, for sure.
Yeah. He actually did one of a variant cover for Pakkins Land back when we were publishing with Caliber Press. So yeah, it was cool.
Very cool.
Kudos to Jeff.
Yeah. And Scott, man, tell us a little bit how you got into this crazy world.
Just been drawing my whole life. The whole idea was illustration. I can kind of trace it back to a trip to Disneyland actually once as a teenager, and I mean I was into some similar comics. I loved Uncanny X-Men and so on, and was drawing books as a kid. But I remember specifically going into one of those back when animation cells and so on were really popular, and you had all those stores kind of around that. There was one at Disneyland, and I remember going in, and they had a big giant blow up of one panel of Alex Raymond's Flash Gordon strip from the 30s, and it was just such gorgeous artwork. And I just took one look at it and I said, that's what I want to do. So somewhere along the line that kind of led into comics as much as anything else. And and it's there came that point where I wanted to flex my muscles beyond just trying to do pinups and so on, and I approached my buddy Kane Gilmore, who's an author, and asked him to write a webcomic with me. And I had the concept for a while for Warbirds of Mars, and that's been my webcomic for a number of years. And he's been co-writing it with me for quite a while, and that really kind of allowed me to flex my muscles and learn how to properly draw comics, and eventually publish them.
Very cool. Now, what were you reading though growing up? Like after you were influenced by this image that you saw, I mean, I'm sure you were going out and now, diving into some books. I mean, what were you reading growing up?
A lot of indie books. But I've always been somebody to kind of go back to who influenced, the currents. I mean, yeah, I was really into the image books. I was really into Jim Lee's art, and I was really into a lot of those guys. But at the end of the day, I was reading Xenozoic Tales by Mark Schultz, and then going back and reading, just anything from like the 30s through the 60s that that inspired me in terms of artistically speaking. That's where I was going.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very cool. We have a very, very important question here in the chat from Popfire the Starfire Goddess. Can you ask the panel who their favorite Titan is and why is it Starfire?
That's a trick question.
Matthew, why is Starfire funny. Our favorite Titan? Because she's hot. My son said my 13-year-old son's here. Because she's hot. Yeah, I agree.
And our favorite moderator just came into the chat. Mandy, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, the darling Mandy. She is a sweetheart. I don't know if you guys know her, but she is awesome.
A hustler.
And she keeps people in line, which is great.
She does. She's got her book on Indiegogo, Wart the Wizard. Guys, check that out as well. All right, gentlemen. So, we've got to learn a little bit about you and what you're doing. Gary and Scott, I mean, are doing the comics, is that a full-time job for you guys, or is this something that you guys are passionately doing, in your nights, weekends, spare time? Gary, go ahead.
It's full-time for me. I did have there were some rough patches along the way, but I'd say for the most part, the last maybe 15, 20, or not 15, 20, but 16 years I've been doing art full-time in some way. Yeah. Like on eBay, I was doing a lot of eBay stuff like maybe 10 years ago. And that's evolved. And I was doing Facebook auctions for a while, and that was like supporting me. Then last year, this whole indie, I'm calling it an indie revival on like Indiegogo and things like that, where people are crowdfunding and putting their books out there. I did Pakkins a long time ago. And so this is like a 25-year journey for me with Pakkins. And so I launched it on Indiegogo last year, I believe it was, or maybe it was this year, I can't remember. But anyways, we had a little more time and we wanted to get to hopefully a bigger audience, so we launched it again on Kickstarter. And now we're in full fulfillment stage right now.
Oh, fantastic.
Congratulations. Well done.
Congratulations. Scott.
Yeah, it's essentially full-time for me. I mean, I'm still working, an odd job part-time during the week, but when it comes to art, it's full-time. But I'm mostly doing private commissions just to make sure the money is in. The whole idea behind 55 Zombie, at least in part, is to help start up this company, PaperStreet, that I started with Mike DeBalfo, and kind of get the ball rolling on that. And my Warbirds title, I feel like, is pretty niche, whereas I thought the idea of something like 55 Zombie might be something that reached out to a broader audience and might actually reach more people.
Yeah, and it's a fun concept. It really is, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. But let me ask you guys, Gary, what made you go the crowdfunding route? What made you say, you know what, let's throw in the hat into this crowdfunding game?
Well, it's sort of weird because I wasn't a big person who followed. I mean, I never backed anything like on Indiegogo. I didn't even know that Indiegogo existed. But one day finding some stuff hard. I was finding it hard to find like a show to watch on Netflix, and so I thought, well, maybe I'll just hop over to YouTube and maybe look at some like drawing, see if there's some comic drawing stuff or something like Jim Lee or something like that. Well, I went there, and as soon as I opened it up, there was this guy that was called Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and I'm like, who's this guy? Well, let's look at him and see what he's got to say. And I'm like, okay. And he was drawing, and he was talking about his techniques, what he used, the whole deal. And I was like, okay, he's okay. And then the more he drew, I was like, wow, this guy's actually really good. And then the more he drew and he was finishing the piece, oh, this guy is the best artist I've ever seen in my life. Who is this guy? Well, because I've been out of comics since, Image started. I didn't know who Ethan Van Sciver was. And man, he is a phenomenal artist. And then it was before he had launched a campaign or anything. And he was like going to Toys R Us and buying Rose Tico dolls and stuff. It was just hilarious. I was having a blast watching him. And then he said, I'm going to do my Cyberfrog thing. And I was watching it live when it was happening. And I just happened to stumble across him. And I didn't know who he was. And I thought, this guy's amazing. And then it just took off. And I'm like, oh, this is incredible. If I can do something, I got to get in on this. So I started live streaming myself, and people started getting interested. I wasn't thinking I was going to do Pakkins Land because it had been dormant for so long. But then I started talking on my stream on YouTube about a project that I had done a long time ago. And they're like, show us in the chat. And I'm okay, well, then I started showing. They're like, oh, this is great. You got to do it. And it's like one thing led to another. And now we've got a 519-page omnibus.
Nice.
Yeah, this is it's a dream come true.
519 pages, man. What an accomplishment. Well done, buddy. Well done.
Yeah, I wish it was bigger. Just 519, Gary. Come on.
Slacker.
Jeez, get with it. No, that's amazing. That's fantastic. Yeah. And you know what's cool, and we're big advocates of this, is like, don't just, don't put everything in one basket. I like that you did an Indiegogo and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do a Kickstarter too. You're not, you're just looking at, look, it's business, right? Let's continue reaching a bigger audience. So I think that's cool. We definitely encourage that. If you do a Kickstarter, try Indiegogo. If you're doing Indiegogo, try a Kickstarter. You'd be surprised what you can gain. Scott, what made you jump into crowdfunding?
Well, this is kind of only my second go around, really, and there's like a 4-year gap between my my first attempt, or semi attempt, with Warbirds of Mars and this time around with 55 Zombies. So the landscape's changed, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing with it, and what to get out of it. But one way or the other, A, it was exposure, and B, it was hoping to bring in the funds to do it more regularly, to get it out there, and not just finish this project, but get the ball rolling on several projects.
There you go. Well, you got to start somewhere, right? Right. And the cool thing is that you're doing your creations. I don't know. I'm really jazzed, especially since we started the show, and I launched our first crowdfunded book earlier this year, and we're just finalizing it now. The fulfillment, and we're launching another one next week. And I got to tell you, I feel so good and so inspired and motivated and energized. When you do your own thing, you know what I mean? When you publish your own comics, when you have your own creation, and you're promoting your own stuff, your creator own stuff, man, there's nothing like it in the world, Right. And that, that pales, that's only second to someone actually coming up to you at a show with your own book, you know what I mean? And asking you to sign, hey, can you sign this? And it's like something you create. You're like, whoa, well, buddy, yeah, hell yeah, I'll sign that thing. So,
that's cool.
It's an amazing feeling.
It really is.
Well, I was in a Dunkin' Donuts, and it happened to me. What was it, last week, Billy? I was telling you, Like, yeah, I just went to this Dunkin' Donuts and someone was like, "Hey, you do that show on YouTube?" And I was like, "Yeah, what show?"
Yeah, I
And
do.
they're like, "Crowdfunding Comics." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." Like, will you sign something? I'm like, "Okay." So I signed a Dunkin' Donuts cup. I was like, "What are you gonna do with that?" I was like, "All right, that was kind of cool." But it made my day though. But so now Scott, you've done Kickstarter. Have you? I'm sorry, did you say you've tried Indiegogo or you've only done Kickstarter?
I've done a small project on Indiegogo because part of PaperStreet is also to eventually kind of publish some of the books and so on that I've written over the years, not just comics. So I needed to get my hands on some UPC codes and so on, or I should say ISBNs.
Yeah.
So I did a small Indiegogo on there, and it did okay.
Oh, nice. So let's actually get into this now. We've chatted a little bit. Let's go into it. Gary, let's check out Pakkin's Land Omnibus. So I'm going to bring up over here, guys, to your Kickstarter page. You have 64 hours to go. Your goal is 500. You've doubled that goal. You currently have 16 backers. I mean, what is this? Tell us about this story. Tell us about this omnibus.
Okay. Basically, this is a culmination of 25 years. I've been working on this on and off, mostly off, but when it was on, we got about 17 or 18 issues done. The last issue that we did was through Image Comics back in 2004 or 2000. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. But anyways, we just wanted to compile it all. It actually was something that my youngest daughter has always wanted, because we have all these loose comics around and she always wants to read them, but she wanted it to be in one book. And so probably for the last 10 years or so, I've been trying to put it all together into one book. And, things happen. It doesn't quite go the way you think. Well, now it's worked out. And so the book is published. I have them. They're all here. It's ready to be shipped out. I did a successful Indiegogo campaign with this omnibus on Indiegogo, and we raised like $20,000.
That's great.
Plus, yeah. And now we thought, because we did have an issue with the printing, and they had to be printed, and so everything's fine now. But we had this window of time, and then people were telling me, try Kickstarter. So I thought, okay, I'm going to launch on Kickstarter. And so we just put it at 500. If we reach that goal, then, great. And we did. And now it's available to anybody who missed it the first time. And I'm fulfilling right now. But the story is about a boy, if that's what you wanted to know. It's about this boy. At least this is where we pick up the story. It's about this boy named Paul who goes into a mysterious world where the animals are intelligent and they have conflicts going on between them. And it's basically a fight between good and evil, because some of the animals side with evil and some with good. And Paul is there to kind of help them, but also to learn himself. He learns from these animals as well. And so it's just an amazing ride, because it takes on a life of its own for me. Like when I was writing it and drawing it, I wasn't even, I'd start with an idea and then that idea just would take off like ivy. It's just like, where are we going with this? And maybe you guys have experienced that as creators yourself. But that's how the writing or creating process is with me. Even with drawing, like sometimes I'll start a drawing and I don't know exactly where it's going to go. I have an idea, but then it just kind of takes on a life of its own, and then it becomes this picture that it's good. I like it. Hey, that worked out good. So that's what it is. And there's a lot going on in there.
Now, let me ask you, when you started this, you have, over 500 pages for your omnibus. Did you have an ending?
No, it doesn't have an ending.
Still doesn't have. So do you have an ending in mind that you have, or you're like, nah, this is just having fun. This is just an adventure.
Yeah, I think it's an adventure, having fun. Sort of like, is there an ending to any story. I mean, the story of life on Earth. I mean, it just keeps going and going.
Yeah.
But just like even in Star Wars or in the Marvel universe, the stories just keep going. And if I run out of ideas, I guess that's the end of the story. But right now, I got ideas coming still. So,
yeah, like some things that should some franchises should have an ending, like Terminator. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about time.
I just hear it's hard. Well, just from the reviews and all, it's just supposed to be horrible and stupid. Maybe they should have hung it up.
wow.
So,
I've heard
but
both.
now are you using? If I may, Gary, now that that you had Jeff did a cover for you, do you utilize Jeff's art again in it? Do and have you reached out to Jeff and to his to the Cartoon Books Army and all to try to get them to support it too? Tweet out to them and all.
No, I haven't.
Shame.
I know, but I don't really have a relationship with Jeff. I mean, I've met him, and he does remember doing the cover. But there's a funny. I don't know. It's funny to me because about the book I'm doing. But when he was asked to do it, Bone was like very, very hot at the time, and so the publishers, it was Caliber Press. Went to Jeff Smith and they asked him, "Will you do a variant cover?" And he's like, "No, I don't want to do that. That's Gary's book. It's his vision. It's his thing. It's not me." And they were like, "Well, there's a similarity or something, is what." And he's like, "No, there's not." And he's like, he didn't want to do it.
Right.
But then I guess they said, "Well, we're going to pay you." And so he's like, fine. So he still has the artwork. He has the original cover that he did. I asked him if he would part with it, and he said no. And I did meet him at a Detroit Comic-Con or something a few years ago. And he told his side of the story and everything. It was kind of comical. But he's doing his own thing. That's and he kind of, I don't know that he does a whole lot of other stuff. Maybe he did Shazam or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think mostly Jeff Smith is focused on what he wants to do with Bone and things like that. And that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a few viewers in the chat that are asking about if you could talk about Titan, which they're saying is a spinoff. I'm developing a new title. I've been working on it. I have about maybe locked down 13 pages right now, locked down with roughs or thumbnails. But it probably is double that if I was to take all the ideas and put them together. So I have about maybe a 30-page story that's in development right now, and maybe it'll grow beyond that. But it's basically it's a mouse who's from this world of Pakkin's land, but it's not in the same time, so maybe it's in the future, maybe it's in the past, we'll see. But he's also not in the world of Pakkin's land. He's actually in what would be considered the real world, Paul's world, because Paul came from his world, went into a magical world with talking animals. Well, this is Titan. He's a talking animal who goes into the human world, I guess. And he basically is like a superhero, little superhero mouse. Oh, that's very cool.
Nice,
Will that be coming to a crowdfunding platform, or are you publishing that?
Yeah, that's coming soon. I'm trying to I want to get at least maybe 6 pages done so that I have something to show on crowdfunding, like either Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Indiegogo did better for me, I have to say, but this is the first Kickstarter I've ever done. So it's different, and there's a different audience, there's a different vibe, and I'm just not sure how to negotiate Kickstarter so well. I've done a couple of Indiegogos, like I did a 2018 sketchbook that did really well for me. I have a 2019 sketchbook that's up there right now. It's actually going to close as soon as the Kickstarter closes. I'm going to close my sketchbook as well on Indiegogo.
Very nice.
Yeah, so I'm going to fulfill everything. And so that's what I'm waiting for right now. I want to fulfill the Omnibus because I don't want to have multiple campaigns running without fulfilling them. I want to get some fulfillment done, and then we'll start Titan.
Yeah.
Very cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I
All
hope
right,
it will.
Will you be previewing any pages on social media or anything?
Yeah, I've already been showing stuff. People seem to be very excited about it. I'm excited about it. Uh, yeah, so I I think I might have something. Where do I go? I don't have anything right here. Well, I have my roughs, but they're not much to look at right now.
Oh, no problem. Where can we catch a preview of it? Is there anywhere online? Is it on your
Well,
Twitter or anything like that?
like
Instagram?
right in the Kickstarter campaign, when you scroll down, I think it says Titan is coming soon. Yeah, there it is. Like in between there's a coloring book.
Yep.
It's offered because people are saying, "Hey, make a coloring book." Okay, made a coloring book.
That's a
So
good idea.
so in between the trading cards, yeah, we got like 14 trading cards, 3 bookmarks, a foil card, a sticker. In between that and the coloring book, there's Titan. There's my little coming soon page.
Oh, I like that. Titan and then right in the A there.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
And so I've been drawing.
God, it's gorgeous. It
Right?
really is
That's
beautiful work.
awesome.
Oh, thank you.
But it's not Starfire.
No, it's not Starfire.
Well, the thing about it is that Titan loves Starfire. It's all good.
Okay, there we go.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys. So yeah, head over to Kickstarter. There's 64 hours to go. You know, if you can, check it out. This looks awesome. 519-page omnibus. A preview to
Share
Titan.
it.
Share it, back it, whatever you can do. Let's, maybe we can help him push to 1,500, in 64 hours. So spread the word on your Facebook, on your Twitters, on your on Instagram, whatever you can do. And let's help support this great Kickstarter.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Dude, that's gorgeous, Gary.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Any of the money that I raise here, it helps to go towards future projects. So there is a purpose for it. It isn't just like we're just trying to line our pockets or something with money. There actually is a goal and there is a future to doing these crowdfunding campaigns, and it's so that we can keep doing it. You know.
Yep. Here,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you got to think it is a business, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course, you put that money, like we all do, you put that money back into the business to make more books.
Right.
And if you could go out, to a nice dinner with some of that hard-earned money you earn, because like we've said before, this is a full-time job. Your promoting's a full-time job. Your fulfillment's a full-time job. I mean, right, Doc? I mean, you think about it, the art, you know what I mean? The art, the writing. I mean, man, every aspect of every facet of a crowdfunding campaign is really like anyone else would be doing a full-time job.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Multiple full-time jobs.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You have, right.
Now, are you mainly doing this by yourself, Gary, or do you have assistants with the campaigns?
The campaigns have it's just been me. I do have friends that will look it over and they'll read and see if I spelled something wrong or something like that, which I'm notorious for. And just make sure it sounds halfway decent. And so, yeah, my wife helps me with that kind of stuff as well. But yeah, it's pretty much me, though. I put it all together and then people look at it and say, yeah, it looks good. Or it doesn't look good.
Yeah. Oh, very good. And Scott, let's jump into Mr. PaperStreet Comics himself. We're going to jump in to 55 Zombie #1. And what I'd like to do first, Scott, is I'm going to play your video for your Kickstarter. It's a great video.
Sure.
I'm going to play it for everyone. It's I think it's about two and a half minutes or so.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Too.
So I'm going to play this for everyone. Scott and Gary, you guys won't be able to hear this on your end, but the audience can. So we'll play this for everyone. And they can hear you talk, so.
History tells us of the days when Elvis and Marilyn were the power couple of the 1950s diner. But do you recall that desperate day, the zombie apocalypse of 1955? Few people realize that were it not for the tireless efforts of Hollywood's elite stand-ins, the world might have perished. Has this happened to you? Zombies can ruin a cruise-in date night faster than a hoodlum with a crowbar and a rolled-up sock stuffed down his dungarees. In these days of rampant rock and roll, communism, and undead zit factories, you need to be prepared. You need 55 Zombie.
Chicks, man. Why don't they dig me?
Yes, that's right. 55 Zombie is the product guaranteed to keep a zombie's mitts and teeth off of your valuable American brains. Yes, 55 Zombie is the comic book where hot rods collide with zombies. Literally. Hi, I'm Scott Vaughn. People call me Doc. I've teamed with Mike DeBalfo to start PaperStreet Comics, and our first original title will be 55 Zombie, a comedy action tale set in Hollywood 1955. So not only are you helping us complete the first issue of our new comic book, but also launch our new company. I've wanted to write this book for years, but finally took the help of PaperStreet Studios to begin to bring 55 Zombie to life, so to speak. All we need now is the funds to complete the first issue and bring it to the masses. And with your help, you'll be the first to see it complete. Our main characters include Butch, an Elvis stand-in on the Hollywood backlot, and Queenie, his on-again, off-again girlfriend and a look-alike for a certain blonde bombshell. When a demon supplies the world's worst director and an army general with the formula to end the world, it's up to our unlikely heroes to defend the diner and save Hollywood. So, take a look at the Kickstarter and the goals and rewards we've got set for you. Your help means a lot to us as we start this new endeavor, and we appreciate you being a part of our new beginning in 55 Zombie. Thanks for your help.
That's a great video, Scott.
Dude, that is awesome, and your art is fantastic.
Thanks. The interiors are by D.H. Miller, and he's I really love his stuff.
Oh,
Yeah. So that main cover image is mine, and then we'll have several other variants, including Ryan Kincaid and Mike DeBalfo.
Oh,
what a fun, beautiful book. And listen, dude, I don't care if the next time I go to Phoenix and you don't do that show, we're hanging out.
All right, man.
Because I want to party with you, man. I gotta tell you, you are fun as hell, and I'm like, I want to hang out with this guy. This guy's fantastic. So give us a scoop, bro. Give us a scoop on it. 55 Zombie.
Yeah, well, it starts with that image right there that you're scrolling up to right there. That was a print idea that I did for Phoenix Comic Con one year, and it's been one of my best sellers ever since. And it's one of those things where people would come by and they're like, "Oh, is this going to be a comic?" And I'd be like, "No, it's just an idea." Well, maybe.
Yeah.
and there comes that point where you're like, "Okay, well, how would you do it as a comic?" Especially seeing as how you're, I mean, it's that play on that print idea of having, these famous people in the diner, but instead they're being attacked by zombies. And the question is how do you get around any possible legal, ramblings with, using these characters such as Elvis and Marilyn. And then I realized one time hanging out in LA, it's like, oh, well, they need to be lookalikes. They need to be, they need to be those shysters who are hanging out in front of Man's Chinese Theater trying to jive you out of $20 to take a photo with them,
Right.
for being lookalikes. So once I hit upon that idea and I pitched it to Mike, we kind of came up with some ideas, and I was off and running in terms of the script.
So in the story, are they lookalikes? They're actually, the characters themselves are lookalikes of Elvis and Marilyn?
Right, exactly. So Butch is an on-set gopher who happens to be emulating Elvis, and his girlfriend is one of those lookalikes hanging out on Hollywood and Vine.
It's such a great concept.
That's a great concept. Holy shit, dude, that's awesome.
Thanks.
And they're fighting off zombies.
Yeah, eventually. In fact, the zombies are accidentally resurrected by Ed Wood. Here.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Here going by the moniker of Dr. Glenda, because he's kind of under a hypnosis from a demon. So it just gets crazier and crazier.
That's
all right, so I'm sorry, Nile. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask. I mean, how long did it take to develop the concept in this story?
It once I hit upon the idea that they were lookalikes, it just hit me. It was nothing. It was sit down and start writing. It was just such a fun concept to run with. Especially seeing as how I wanted Ed Wood as a character because I think he's so cool, and I love that, and I love the Tim Burton film. And I wanted to be able to play in that era, with people who were the real deal as well as the lookalikes. And I'm a big fan of mid-century stuff anyway, if that wasn't obvious. So I just, from a writing standpoint, it was easy to dive in.
Mm-hmm. That's
awesome. I mean, this has got movie written all over it.
Yeah.
And the cool part is, like I said, is that they're lookalikes.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant.
If you look at the original print, the zombies attacking the diner are the Rat Pack, and so my idea is that Butch's girlfriend Queenie, the Marilyn Monroe lookalike, the gang that she hangs out with on a regular basis, trying to make a buck down in downtown Hollywood, are the not Rat Pack.
That's awesome.
So so we got 11 days to go to raise about a little over $2,500.
Correct.
Guys, we have to share this and let people have to see this because this is brilliant, bro. This is a brilliant concept. Both of our guests say, "Wow, we really hit the jackpot on this one."
Yeah, no, two great Kickstarters, man. Yeah, so you've got 11 days left. You're currently at 44 backers, and right now you're just under $2,200 funded. So yeah, guys, this is a great concept. If you like it, back it. If the funds aren't there this month, just share it. Sharing is the best thing you guys can do.
Yeah.
50 people to, you know what I mean? 50 people to, put $20 in or so.
That's it. And Scott, yeah, I mean, mid-century stuff. I noticed in the video there. I mean, do you collect items from roughly around the 50s and things?
Mm-hmm. My house is 1960s. The whole main entrance when you walk into my place is all vintage and so on. I mean, down in my studio, it's geek-tastic, but upstairs when you walk in, it's all very vintage. And it's just been something I've been into ever since I was a kid. So I don't know. It's that kind of combination of history and pop culture that just kind of slammed together for me. And Arizona's a good place for it too. It's easy to find stuff in good condition. And Billy, as you were even saying earlier, it's like there's a lot of cool history here if you know where to look. Going down to places like Tucson and Tombstone and Bisbee and so on. So yeah, it's easy to time travel in the state if you know where to look.
Oh yeah, we didn't get to Tombstone, but we were down, I guess downtown, or I don't know what part it would be, but where all the restaurants are by the Congress Hotel.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that street really all the college kids were out. It was homecoming. It really reminded me of San Diego of the Gaslamp District.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Great
cool bars and nice high end restaurants, and then just like cool dive places if you want to get a good burger, type of thing. And
was that trolley still coming through?
Yeah, the trolley was there. Yeah, absolutely. The trolley was there, and then but we Ubered it. Then of course the Day of the Dead parade was Sunday, and it was what a town. It was, but again, I love that mid-century modern stuff too. Yeah. And I got a curious question. Where did the nickname Doc come from?
Ever since I was a little kid, I'm a Doctor Who fan.
Oh, really? Is that?
Yeah.
Well, it suits you, my friend. It suits you, and I dig the fedora too, old chap.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and actually, we had Christina Lynn asked, Sky, I noticed your Doctor Who stuff in the background. Who's your favorite Doctor?
The going answer is always the current one, but growing up, of course, it was Tom Baker. Yeah. And I actually met him when I was 11, which was pretty cool. He came to a convention in Milwaukee, so I got to meet my childhood hero at a young age.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Is he still alive?
He is. He's pushing. He's in his 80s somewhere. And they just re-released like some of his stuff on Blu-ray, so he's still popping up on the videos.
Oh, he was a great one. He really he's my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You are a Doctor Who fan, Gary?
I was into it a while ago. I think when the 10th Doctor. Was that the guy who his name was Tennant or something?
Yeah.
That I watched him for a while. I liked that, and then it went to the next guy, and I didn't watch that so much. And so then it's been less and less from that point.
Right.
Nile, are you a Doctor Who fan?
Well, I don't know if I should say. I am not a big Doctor Who fan, but
Why,
I've
you
never
dislike
actually. I know, right now, everyone's gonna hate me now. I've actually
no,
just never taken the
dislike
time
them.
to. I have to watch it. You know, I've caught a couple episodes and I didn't dislike it. I just never fully got into it. But I've caught it every now and then.
So,
It's been on a real long time. And I think what I did is I tried to start it from the very beginning. I own every episode. You know, don't ask me how, but I do. And and I tried starting from the beginning and I jumped around. But I mean, everyone loves it, so I'm sure it's amazing. I will get into it. You know, it's even like I remember like with Star Trek, wasn't really into it, and then I gave it a shot. I loved it. You know, Star Wars, same thing. You know, I gave it obviously. You know, we got really into that, and then got really into Star Trek, and Doctor Who is on my list.
Cool.
So
You got to see the War of the Daleks with the Spitfires in space.
oh my gosh, really?
Dude.
Oh,
Oh my god.
All right.
It's one of my favorite
Okay.
episodes of all time, a comic of television.
I gotta jump into this then.
But I'm
Frank
a war
Amazing
bird- I'm a war bird
marathon
nut,
weekend.
you know.
Actually, you need like a marathon 5 years.
Well,
Really?
winter-
How long's that been running? That's
Well-
since the 60s, right?
Yeah, it started in '63, and it ran all the way to like 1989, and then they relaunched it, roughly speaking, in 2005.
It's crazy.
I
That's
got to
awesome.
meet that girl who was Cumberbatch. How do you say his name? Cumberbatch.
Close enough.
Yeah, who played the girl Jenna?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, she was. I think. Oh no, she was in. Maybe it was Denver or something at a convention, and she was oh my beautiful girl. Wow,
Yeah.
and just adorable, you know. And you know that's kind of cool about the Comic Cons. If you get you'll get cool cons that will allow the cartoonists, you know, the comic artists. They'll allow us to be able to eat with the celebrities.
Right.
Which is always a treat, and then you just sit down and it's nice. A lot of them are so, you know, like, oh, what do you do? You know, I said, oh, I was in the Brady Bunch, and they're like, oh, really? I'm like, no. Someone actually, one of the actresses thought Debbie was a Brady girl. It said,
Really?
I thought you were one of the Brady girls. Yeah, that's my wife. She's like, nah, I just follow him around.
She's like,
So-
yeah, I'm Marsha.
Yeah, Marsha.
Oh, Battlestar Galactica was good too, Nighthawk Warrior. I really got into that.
Yeah.
I like did you guys like what they did with the reboot? Did you see 2003, I think they did that reboot?
At first, no. I was really upset by it, and then everybody kept telling me it was the best show on television. I was like, whatever. And somebody passed me a story so far disc right before I think season 3 or 4 started up, and I was like, all right, this looks like it gets interesting. And I started watching from there. I was like, oh, this is like anime on TV. This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the idea that how the Galactica was offline. You know what I mean? Because it was outdated.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why it wasn't affected by the the virus, I guess, or whatever the aliens did, the Cylons did to it. I'm like, oh, that's a cool concept.
Yeah. Now, are you guys any of you guys Star Trek fans?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which is the best Star Trek series?
Oh God, please.
I'm just asking questions that are in the chat.
What do you mean, like from the TV show
The
or
TV series, yeah. Which series is the best?
the original?
Thank you.
Okay, Scott.
Again, it's one of those things where I love each one for different reasons. My favorites are the original and Deep Space Nine, but I'm a big TNG fan.
Ooh,
Yeah, there you go.
there you go.
Yeah, I never. Yeah.
Can I tell you, here's a fun story. So I collect a lot of Star Trek stuff, right? And I was on eBay. Yeah, Frank Amazing's laughing because this was funny. So on eBay, so I was thinking it's like all this memorabilia from like one of the first Star Trek conventions they did. And it was all this signed stuff. And I was like, hey, you know what? I don't know if this is real or not, but it looks cool. So I get it, open the box, a couple things, and all of a sudden I start pulling out the rest, and it was like erotic Star Trek fan fiction, just like a whole
Right.
box. I'm like, what is this? Oh no, what's Spock doing to Kirk? What is going on here? And I was like, this isn't what I bought. Like the top
There
part
you
was
go,
like the
Gary.
pictures. Like someone basically is like, I'm gonna trick some person in buying like 5 pictures, give them a big box of all this weird Star Trek fan fiction erotica. I was like, oh no, this is horrible.
Oh. Look at
No, I
it.
don't even know what happened to it. I think I threw it out, but it was from like the 70s and early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. I don't know.
Wow.
It was weird.
As
Well,
I
yeah,
understand it- as
I did
understand
this
it,
this parody book of Fun with Kirk and Spock.
Nice.
Fun with Kirk and Spock. Look at that.
So I did all the artwork in it. This was
Oh,
back.
awesome.
Nice.
So it's sort of like
Oh, nice work.
making fun of the Fun with Dick and Jane books, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
When
got
did
that
you do
60s
that, Gary?
Excuse me.
When did you do that?
Let's take a look.
It's like, I'm not sure.
I think it was like 2000. What's the date here? There's a date somewhere. 2014.
Oh, not
Oh,
bad.
wow. Oh, that's not that long ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's cool. That artwork's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you have a bunch of different styles then, huh?
Yeah, I've done tons of different things. I had to kind of adapt my style. Years ago, I was selling things. I told you this already, but like on eBay and Facebook. And in order to make a living doing that, I'd have to turn around a piece of artwork, like a fully rendered painting, even in like record time, in order to make it feasible to make a living. Because if you spend a week on a painting and then you put it up for auction, and then people just, people don't have tons of money all the time. And you can't be selling like these items for tons of money all the time. So I'd have to really crank them out and get like the rock bottom price, like make it as low as possible so that people could get it. And it's kind of grown from there. So yeah, I've done a lot of different things over the years.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
Gentlemen, I was supposed to say hello to my wife, Deborah, who's hiding behind the microphone. You got
Hello.
Hi, Deborah.
There she
Oh,
is.
lovely scarf.
See, there's one of the Brady girls.
I just earned this scarf.
You
This
do?
evening.
That is a
This is
lovely
my birthday
scarf.
present.
Oh, well done. Here's
Thank you.
there's another
Frank,
bonus.
how come you never buy me a nice scarf?
Very nice.
Hey, Doc. Another question. What's your Warbirds of Mars?
Yeah.
Now, tell us about that.
That is my Diesel Punk alternate history story. So basically, the idea is instead of D-Day happening, aliens invade, and of course, being the 40s, we refer to them as Martians because
Yes.
that's what you do. And so it's kind of becomes this pulp, resistance type book. It's like mash up The Shadow and War of the Worlds, and you kind of get an idea where I'm going with it.
Nice. Is
I
this
love
it
that.
right here? Did I just...
What's that?
This page I just put up?
Yeah.
Warbirds of Mars. Fantastic.
And what are the Warbirds?
Well, Warbirds is a term. If you've ever been to an air show or anything like that,
Yes,
that's
you
a
see my
term.
flying tigers behind me?
Right.
That's what I was
Exactly.
hoping it was. I want to
Right,
buy
yeah.
that now.
So the idea is they, a lot of the characters are pilots, and they're working out of a secret base beneath Coney Island, where they fly their diesel punk planes out of to fight back against the Martians. And I've been doing it as a webcomic off and on for years. And in the meantime, my first Kickstarter was Warbirds of Mars: The Golden Age, where I was trying to, essentially doing the Golden Age format of storytelling or comic book art to make it look that size, essentially. And so that's where the web comic leaves off. It becomes the comic book, and that'll be continuing on. That's my next project after 55 Zombie #1 is to work on Warbirds of Mars: The Golden Age #2.
Nice. Now, because I'm a Warbird fanatic. That's my passion.
Cool.
It really is. What's your favorite Warbird, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a I'm a big fan of the P-51. But my first love was a Spitfire.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I brought the whole. Yeah, the Spitfire is my favorite too.
Yeah.
But I love, I love the P-51 and I love the Corsair. Those are my.
the
those are
F40
my-
Yeah,
Corsair
yeah.
is mine. That's
Yeah.
mine right there, man.
I got to climb around on a Corsair as a kid. My dad used to take me to a lot of air shows. In fact, we'd fly to them from time to time.
Oh, you're a pilot too?
He was a pilot, just private planes. But
Yeah.
we would fly up to, used to be an air show at Byron Originals in Ida Grove, Iowa. And if you look up Striking Back on YouTube, it's some of the coolest videos you'll ever see because the guy had a mini empire of radio controlled airplanes. And he made RC Warbirds amongst other things. And he would, every year, this fly-in would be part real planes and part radio controlled airplanes. And he had an entire Japanese oil refinery, like 1/15th scale, that his RC planes would come in and bomb as a big show. And you can watch it online. It's called Striking Back, and
Striking Back.
Oh wow.
It is so cool. And I used to get to see that as a kid, and hang out with like the Christian Eagles and some of the other pilots and planes and stuff. So yeah, that stuff's been in my blood since I was a kid, and that was part of where Warbirds of Mars came from.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Dude, we were still hanging out.
I'm in, man.
Very, very cool. Very cool. So, guys, wow, this has been a great show. We really want to thank you guys for coming on, but I do want to get on one topic, and I want to get your take on it. What is your thoughts? And I'll start with Gary. What's your thoughts on the indie comic scene right now?
Wow. My thoughts are wow. I think that there's a really great opportunity that's right here in front of us right now. And if we don't mess it up and drive people away, I think that there are people that want to see product that we're creating. And I just think that we need to be careful how we handle it. I mean, there's probably two different things going on. One is there's an indie comic thing going on, and then there's also a social media kind of a drama thing going on. And if we merge those things too closely, we could cause damage.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense.
Yep, perfect sense. I agree with you 100%.
Scott, what's your take on the indie comic scene?
I don't follow as much online as maybe I should.
No, you should.
I appreciate what things like Kickstarter and Indiegogo provide for us as indie makers. I appreciate the amount of indie books out there that are in the comic shops, that are actually in stores as well. I think that I'm still figuring some of this out in some ways. I think it's interesting that you can do books in a fashion that puts you in the cons and online in a different way compared to what the indie books are doing in the shops that still have to meet a deadline, still have to meet a monthly desire, and it's really taken a toll on indie books art, I feel. Having those deadlines. It's not like France or or Italy or someplace where those artists, they get as much time as they want to turn out a book that looks as beautiful as they want it to.
Right.
Here it's a different ball of wax, at least in terms of what goes on the shelves. Whereas crowdfunding, that seems to be offering a different product, which hopefully is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really think we are definitely, and me and Billy have talked about this, we really are in a golden age right now for independent creators with the tools that are out there, with what's going on. And I think, Gary, you hit the nail on the head with, being really careful, being careful with what you mix with and what you're doing. I mean, everyone here, fans watch the shows, creators watch this show. You got to be careful with what you're doing, what you're mingling with, and keep your nose clean and just get a good product out there. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. That's the point of being an indie creator is you have full creative control to bring your product to the world. How you do it is, it's under your control. You can do it the right way, the wrong way. But I definitely think that, now is the time to do it. If you're going to crowdfund, this is the time to do it.
Yep.
So, Nile, are you going to do it?
I'm doing it. Me and Frank Amazing are working on it.
All right.
It's going. 2020, baby. 2020.
That's true. It's true, though. The beautiful part of it is you do get the creator-owned products through something like this. That's something I've always loved to see. That's something that's always drawn me to the conventions, and to see it more and more here is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. This conventions really get fucking taxing. Excuse my language. Oh my gosh. You get brought up Ethan. Ethan was saying that he was walking around the convention. He went to New York Comic Con, and you see a lot of people, and you're just kind of waiting there, for people to come up to you and talk to you or something, and to engage in you or buy your books. And there are some the real fortunate guys. I mean, Adam Hughes is there, and there's a line waiting for him. There are certain others that that you're busy consistently and stuff, and that's a great luxury. But for the majority of people, and they're indie creators and things like that, or writers or pencilers or inkers, and you're just kind of sitting there, and it's it can be really good money, but man, is it the travel and the expense and the time taken away from the art table, you know what I mean, from the drawing board. That's why I'm here, and I hope you don't think I'm being rude or anything. I just got to work. I'm at the art table drawing these zombies too, because you got to get them done. You got to do it, and that's what I love the whole crowdfunding thing, because I think Brian Pleta was Brian that said, I wanted to stay home more. Just tired of traveling so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And having like you got having a YouTube channel, you could engage with your customers, having your crowdfunded campaign. You're dealing directly with the fans, and they love that too. The fans love knowing and talking to the creators and stuff. And I mean, how many people we have? Mandy, I don't know if Mandy's still here in the audience. Mandy had never done a comic before, and then she wanted to do it, and just through crowdfunding, and she launched a successful Indiegogo campaign for Wart the Wizard.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, the next Robert Kirkman's out there, man, and do your own stuff. There's nothing like producing your own books.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. Or producing your own show.
Or producing your own show.
Or producing your own show.
Or having Nile produce his own show and have me on it.
On the other hand, that's the beauty of where crowdfunding comes in. It's like I did the first issue of Warbirds completely on my own. I wrote it, I drew it, I colored it, I published it. Everything about it was me, with a few exceptions here and there. And I definitely want to see more ability to outsource where it counts to save time, so that I can be at the art desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to think of it like everyone out there. A lot of people watch us, and you can follow your dreams. Like Gary did, and Doc, and produce the books. Look at Gary produced a 500-page comic. But the thing is, it's a business. You got to think of it as a business, because it's got to be worth your time to do. Mm-hmm. And if people pledge to your books, get them out. Yeah. I mean, I have a few Kickstarters that I think there's two of them I pledged. Like one's like 3 years old, and another one's like 5 years old. Oh. And I've yet to get. You know what I mean? Yeah. To get, I gave them, I don't know, $50 or something like that. And it's like, I'll never buy from them again.
Yeah. No, fulfillment's very important.
Yep, indeed.
Very important. But hey, so if you guys don't mind, I'd love to get into. We're gonna do a crowdfunding call out tonight. This is gonna be for Eternal on Indiegogo. This creative team has 31 hours left. They're currently at $6,195. They're 40% of their goal. 31 hours left. We're gonna help spread the word out there. Maybe we can, help push to make this happen for Jason. I'm gonna play the video for you guys for anyone that hasn't seen this yet. So let's check out the Indiegogo video for Eternal. That right there plays like a video game trailer.
Damn, that's a gorgeous looking book, man. Well,
That
good luck.
is, yeah.
That's amazing.
Are they in the home stretch?
No, they have 31 hours left. I don't know if they're going to extend it or not. But they're only 41% funded. So this is, this is an art book, but it's an art book that tells a story. So if you get a chance, check it out. It is beautiful. I'm working this book. Check it out. If you can, back it. If you can't, share it. Again, let's see if we can help push these guys to their goal. All right,
really
so
good.
What's that?
It's really good looking.
It's really good looking. I think it's all computer generated too.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, they did a nice job. It's the character designs of some of those creatures is pretty cool too. It's great. Gary, Scott, thank you again so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Please keep us in the loop on everything you have going on. If you got any other books coming up, other projects you want to come back on the show. Once you're on the show, you're part of the Crowdfunding comic family. So if anything comes up, please feel free to reach out to us and let us know what's going on and keep us in the loop of everything.
Really, we got to talk Warbirds, man.
Absolutely. And the 50s, too. I love the concept, and like I said, Gary, you too, man, unbelievable the career you have, and that book, wow, 500 pages.
Gary, do you put a cap at any point?
And we'll hang out too, Gary. I was just talking about it. I was just in the Warbirds frame of mind, but if you'd like to hang out, I would love to hang out with you too.
Okay.
Gary, is there a cap? Do you stop at 600 pages or no?
Well, actually, it's really expensive. A little word to let you guys know: it's really expensive to print a book that's 590 pages.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
Where are you having it published?
Ingram. I have it. It's already published. Here it is. Boom.
Boom. That's cool.
That's a wow.
It's oversized. It's awesome. It's amazing.
Nice.
Dream come true.
I want it.
Well, bro, you're amazing. Wow.
I want it.
Unbelievable.
I'm going to have to jump on that. That's awesome, man. Now, Gary, how can people keep in touch with what you're doing? How can they follow you?
I'm on YouTube. My name is Mr. G Ship on YouTube, or just Gary Shipman. I guess you could search that. Also, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram, and it's all Gary Shipman art, stuff like that. Usually people follow me on YouTube, and then we kind of hook up through the chat and things because I do live streams and I do live stream drawings and things like that. And it's been going pretty good.
Oh,
is it regular? Good. Are you on regularly? Do you have a set, like Wednesdays, or you just go on?
I'm not good at setting a time because I have so much stuff going on. I have a family and things like that. I have to give people rides and things at different times. So it's hard for me. I just go on when I can. I try to schedule stuff, like I'll give a heads up, like maybe an hour or two, or maybe a day before. Sometimes I can say, yeah, I'm going to be doing this tomorrow at this time, and hopefully it works out. But mostly I fly by the seat of my pants when it comes to YouTube.
Oh, very nice. And Gary, you have gained one more backer since during the show. So you're now up to 17.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
All right, fantastic. And Scott, it looks like you're up 2 backers.
Nice.
Very good. Awesome. Very good. And Scott, how can everyone stay in touch with everything that you have happening?
The 2 main hubs for me are PaperStreet Ent, as in like PaperStreet ENT Entertainment.com, which points to, currently that's just a hub page, but it points to obviously Mike DeBalfo's stuff and his social media, and to my page and my social media, and mine is Vaughn-media.com, and that's got stuff on there for my Patreon and for Warbirds of Mars and eventually 55 Zombie, and all my social media stuff too.
Very cool. Very cool. Mm-hmm. And for everyone, if you love the show that we're doing and you're enjoying Crowdfunding Comics, please subscribe to the channel. click that little bell to get the notifications when we go live and we're uploading new content. And please help share our streams when we go live and anything we have recorded. Help get the word out of what we're doing with this as we try to just keep spreading the word of great indie creators such as Gary and Scott, what they're doing, and all of our future guests. And just so you guys know, tomorrow night we have the great Sam Sawyer on, who her idea originally started off as a comic and now it's going to be an animated feature. She has some amazing voice actors that are going to be a part of it, many that we know, and I don't want to spoil it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, everyone, at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have the great Sam Sawyer on. And also on Thursday, we have one of our favorite cosplayers, Kara Nicole. She's coming on. She has actually done a very successful crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter. So anyone that's out there that cosplays, knows anyone that cosplays, that wants to know, hey, how can I further my cosplaying career and other avenues you can go down, come and chat with us Thursday night with Kara Nicole.
There you go.
She's a part of our Phoenix local scene.
Yes,
Yeah, and so isn't Sam from Phoenix too?
I
don't know.
She was in Tucson, so I think this is an all Arizona week because Brian Polito will also be joining us Thursday.
Brian Polito, yes, yeah, we're gonna get him on.
So
yeah, it's gonna be a fun show.
All AZ show. Well, Gary, you're not in Arizona.
No.
Yeah, so
I'm in Chicago area.
It's almost an all AZ.
Chicago,
man.
The Bears. No.
The Bears.
The
Are you a Bears
Bears.
fan?
I don't watch sports. I draw comics.
There you go.
Time.
Great answer. I love it.
There you go.
All right, everyone. So we will see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Mr. Tucci, another wonderful show for the record.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it. And guys, thank you for coming on. Anytime you guys want to come on, you're on, all right?
I appreciate it. This is a great
show. You guys
show.
are amazing. You really are. And real talented. And I'm digging the positive energy. I'm digging the vibes. This is just great.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, guys. And everyone, we'll see you tomorrow night. And guys, hang on. We're going to wrap up the show and just hang on. We'll chat with you a little bit after. All right, everyone. We will see you tomorrow night. Everyone have a great night. And as always, the chat was lively, fun, and we hope we can do the same tomorrow evening. All right, everyone. We will see you tomorrow. Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into Crowdfunding Comics. We look forward to hanging out with all of our crowdfunding fans every time we go live. And don't forget to click the link below and subscribe to our channel. And there's a little bell. You may want to hit that too. This way you get all the great notifications when we go live and when we upload some awesome content. You want to follow us? Sure, go right ahead at Twitter at CrowdFundComics with an X, Instagram Crowdfunding Comics, and Facebook at Crowdfunding Comics. Till next time, crowdfunding fans, we'll see you soon. That was a singing frog, bro. Michigan J Frog. You know it.